what you dream. It's the way that you make those things reality. You see, that's the magic to me. M-I-N-O-T, now you see. Life ain't always just what you dream. It's the way that you make those things reality. You see, that's the magic of me.
Hey guys, welcome to the Magic District Hangout podcast. I'm Christine Staley.
Corey Long, how you doing?
Yes, and we have a really special guest here today, guys. This is a guy who I met, he introduced himself to me years ago in a business function, and I didn't know who he was. But then I found out at some point he had a running for city council, but then he also is an advocate for a lot of things. Minot, it's crazy. His name's Josh Wolsky, and he's in the house right now. And I'm very excited to interview you.
Well, I'm excited to be here. This is a fun, short notice Sunday invitation.
Right.
Thanks for having
Just
me.
Yes.
so you know, behind the scenes, about an hour and a half ago, I said, "Hey, Josh," gave him a phone call, and he came.
Yeah.
And yeah.
This is how he rolls. He is so on top of things.
Yes.
Fun conversation.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
And by the way, Corey, sorry, I have to tell you guys something
Yeah.
just to get off. When I first met you, you know what I said? I said you would be Josh Wolsky's brother.
True. I guess
You guys have a look that looks similar.
Yeah.
That's the nicest compliment anybody's given me all year.
Really?
Thank you very much.
I love it. I had to tell you because I didn't know that you weren't related.
No, we're
It
not.
shocked me.
No.
We are classmates, though.
We are classmates.
1995.
95.
So I graduated 95 as well.
Right.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
that's awesome.
guys, this
Yeah.
is 95 in the house.
Gen Xers in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is exciting. So Josh, I mean, thanks for coming last minute.
Absolutely.
But you know what? You're not last minute. You do so much
He
research.
does a lot.
I heard you went to like 18 downtown somewhere. You drove around. You do some crazy stuff. You got to like get involved here.
When I see something that looks fun to support, I don't hesitate. I just kind of dive
He just
in.
goes.
That's awesome.
And then, whatever seems to happen from there is all a part of what was meant to be.
So you're like an entrepreneur because that's like the first rule of being an entrepreneur is like risk taker. Just go.
Say yes, and then figure it out along the way.
Right.
Yes. Do a high five in the air there because that's exactly what it takes. I mean, really, that's what this was. We had no idea we were going to do this.
No, and I'm delighted to see you guys doing it because we need local conversations. We need people informed about what's right under their noses in many cases that they might not have yet got a whiff of.
Right.
And so, and we discover that I think a lot in Minot, people who maybe lived here a whole lifetime and didn't even know there were, a whole commercial district 2 blocks off Broadway.
Right.
So,
Not just that, just even restaurants, to like even like servant services.
Right.
I'm just throwing that in there. Go ahead, Corey.
No. So that brings us to the point, Josh. You grew up here in Minot. You graduated from Minot. What happened after graduation?
oh boy, there are a couple lifetimes after graduation.
Sure.
But, I was one of those kids who was curious about the world. And so I went off to college on the East Coast, the University of Delaware,
Okay.
Delaware.
home of tax-free shopping, made famous by Wayne's World, of course.
Right.
And it's every bit as alluring. And I had just an awesome 4 years there. Got the East Coast experience. Delaware is kind of right in the middle of everything. So it was a couple hours up to New York, a couple hours down to DC, a couple hours into the mountains for the
You were next to
wilderness and
Philadelphia. You were everywhere.
Okay.
cheesesteaks,
Beautiful.
New York pizza.
Yeah.
All of it was within a weekend or a relatively short drive, especially for a guy from North Dakota who's happy to drive for a couple hundred miles with a brick and an eye. So all these things that were seemed out of reach to folks who've grown up in that part of the world were for me just like, well, that's going to be Friday from 3:30 to 5, and I'll be in New York City.
Yeah.
Right.
Was that like a culture shock for you though when you got there?
It is a little eye-opening as to how close everything is compared to here. At the same time, it is close but far away in the sense that it's not as nearly as predictable, right? So, if we were to get in the car here today and drive to Bismarck, we know almost to the minute when we're going to arrive at one destination we want to get to. Whereas there's a lot more uncertainty in the 100 miles on the East Coast.
Sure.
Oh, I agree.
Sure.
Don't talk about construction and detours.
Yeah.
Don't even. You think it's bad here in Minot?
Right.
No.
It
No.
might not be far away, but there's a lot more uncertainty in terms of how accessible it really is. So,
Wow.
just
So
little
how-
subtle little differences.
So how long were you there in Delaware for?
I spent 4 years in Delaware, and then after college, I was one of those guys who hadn't quite made up my mind as to what I wanted to do, even though I managed to get a degree.
Right.
And so I chose an alternate path. I decided I was going to go be a golf bum.
Okay.
And after kind of literally driving around the country, counterclockwise, starting in North Dakota, I detoured into Arizona for about 8 or 9 months, and then ultimately landed in Charleston, South Carolina,
Okay.
and spent out the
Wow.
next 10 years there, on the fringes of the golf business and in the golf world. Kind of took had a taste of playing competitively a little bit. That was kind of the goal behind all of it, is I was
Okay.
going to go out and play on the PGA Tour.
Okay.
That was like your dream.
Certain realities. Well, that sounded like more fun than getting a job. That's it, right?
At least you weren't a caddy, right?
Right.
Well, no, I was a caddy. That was actually how I paid
That
my
was
bills.
that was the golf bum hard.
So,
Okay.
so that was how I paid the bills, and caddies in the environment I was at, we had privileges to some really nice golf courses, so
Oh,
I
I
could
can
play
bet.
and practice.
Cheaper green fees.
And
Have you ever head down to Miami? You ever go
not
to
make
the
it as
Blue
far as
Monster?
Miami. I made it as far as Orlando and Daytona
Okay.
for a few tournaments, and I had some success in the caddying world. I got a taste of playing in some of the big I would say working in some of the big events.
Nice.
But ultimately, uh, you know, certain realities start to take shape, and the likelihood of me, ending up on the PGA Tour was a smaller chance, and then so I ended up with a kind of a landscape construction business for 4 or 5
Interesting.
years,
Okay.
building putting greens
Interesting. Like for people at their homes?
for people at their homes.
Oh.
So that was
Just driving in from Granville every day, there's a small little green. I don't know if you ever seen it, but they have it. It's right on the side of the highway.
I did not build that one.
Okay.
There are some in that area that I can't build.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Josh, I never knew this.
I never knew. Yeah.
So that was kind of the first foray into entrepreneurialism.
Okay.
Sure.
And what ultimately, brought me back to North Dakota is niece and nephews, family, growing up around me that I didn't have as much access to because I was farther away. And so I wanted to be a little closer to home. While those, important life events started to happen a little more frequently,
Yeah.
as everybody has that in their 20s and 30s, right?
Yep.
So, real quick recap: you got into the entrepreneur world outside of Minot.
Outside of Minot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was the first foray into it, was this little putting
Mm.
and landscape construction business.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a whole lot more than a guy in a pickup truck and an occasionally rented Bobcat.
Sure.
And
Yep.
a lot
But you had a can-do attitude, and that's
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
That's what it takes sometimes.
and putting greens were one of those things where it is a unique landscape element in the sense that it requires some fine tuning to perform
Sure.
the way an actual putting green does.
Right.
And so my background in golf allowed me to really deliver on the golf side of that at a high
A real
level.
finish work, because
Yeah.
you're talking about hitting a ball on a flat surface.
It needs to be true. It needs to
Yes.
roll. It
Yes.
needs to it needs to be experienced the same way an actual.
So did you
golf course is.
design the actual putting greens too, like everything around it, like in the area they're going to go into following the pass?
So it would be an evaluation process with the homeowner to
Okay.
say, this is a good place. It's going to work really well. This isn't a good spot. Maybe there was, it seemed picturesque because there were a lot of, maybe there were a lot of pine trees near it or something like that, and it would sit in a cove. But then what you discover is it becomes kind of a maintenance challenge because it's always got nature falling onto it.
You saw that.
Mhm.
So, I would help people, make that determination of, what's the right fit, what's the right size, what are you trying to get out of this? Is this a backyard fun feature? Are you a serious golfer that's going to improve your game?
There's research going into this and stuff.
You would design the product according to what people really wanted to get out of it. And,
Yeah.
and it was artificial turf. We weren't planting real grass. So this was
Right.
essentially a manicured, lower maintenance type
Yes.
of
Okay.
golf backyard green
Yeah.
than trying to grow one and maintain it yourself, because
That's so
golf's
cool.
not really a reasonable
Yeah.
path
Right.
for most homeowners.
Yeah.
So
So then how did you venture out of that? Because that sounds like that was a really good fit here in North Dakota. A lot of people love golf here.
well, they are putting greens are a real niche
Yeah.
type of product, right? It's not a lot of people want them in their backyards. Sure, and people never actually want to look at a golf club again after they had it, right? Yeah, that's
true.
yeah. So their home is some respite from what they sometimes experience on the course. But what I learned in that business, and this was kind of the height of Google's pay-per-click era,
Mm-hmm.
because the business was kind of a struggle at first. I was trying to figure out, how do I actually reach these people? I know they exist. I know there aren't a lot of them, but I need to get in front of them and let them know that I have the service that I can provide, and then have the ability to deliver it the way they want it.
Yeah.
And so as I got into this, the initial struggle was marketing and reaching people.
Yeah.
And so I struggled for a year, and then I built what ended up being a very, very simple website. And I connected it up with Google, and I started spending a little bit of money on pay-per-click advertising. And for that particular business, that was such a niche search,
Mm-hmm.
backyard putting green,
Yep.
that I could be in front of my potential customers in the first place they looked, and I could be at the top of the list for very
You had no competition.
And as soon as I did that, the business started to work.
Oh my gosh.
And so I became a real believer in this new world that was emerging at that time.
Yeah.
It's now commonplace, that a smart internet presence was a really valuable element.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the concept that I brought back to North Dakota, which is just to help small businesses figure out a very simple website. It doesn't need to say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, I really advocated for the idea of saying less,
Mm.
because with most relational businesses, it's not, you're never going to make a deal or close a sale on a website. You're going to close it after you build the relationship.
Yes. It's just a first impression of what you're selling them, basically.
It is the call to action is to
Yeah.
pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
They can get a sense of who they're talking to.
Certainly.
And in that case, it was a less is more environment. Right?
Ah.
You didn't want every single picture on the planet. You weren't trying to sell yourself there.
Yeah.
You were trying to get the phone call. And
Wow.
then you could take the rest of the sales process.
So you seem like that's an emerging concept here too, because at the time.
Right. It's a perfect fit for certain businesses. Other businesses people want and need that information to be able to evaluate.
Yeah.
How do we make decisions?
Yeah.
But it is, I think it should be, and often is, with good designers and developers, tailored to the business itself.
Yeah.
Right? Ultimately, what are you trying to get
Yeah. Of course.
out of that marketing? And so that kind of led me into a short period of time doing that for small businesses. And then my pathway, in Minot and in politics, kind of started with the recognition 10 or 15 years ago that our local media was a diminishing force in our community. And that led ultimately to the Minot Voice.
Which, tell people what that is, because that's how I met you.
So the Minot Voice is still in existence, and it will be coming back. It's on a short hiatus right now due to a side project that I've diverged into. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. But the Minot Voice was designed to be a new iteration, a new version of what local media might look like as we move away from the newspaper, as we move away from the 6 o'clock news.
The traditional media outlets are
Traditional media outlets that
people are used
that
to
people
growing up.
were very common,
Yeah.
And Minot is one of those small nucleus places. We're a little geographically isolated. For a long time, you could very reliably reach every person in this community with an ad in the newspaper.
Yes, you could have. Yeah, you're looking for a job. There was 3 full pages.
The classified section
Yeah.
was huge.
That's actually how I found the business I bought.
Right.
It was in the newspaper.
Sure.
I still have it. I kept it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's such a cool story too. But also, now look where we are 15 years later, and this medium
Mm-hmm.
is it's struggling.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
Right.
To be kind in
Yeah.
the larger scheme of things. We've had this enormous rise in social media, which means we have access to more and more information, maybe even more than we can handle.
I believe there's way too much out there.
Right.
And
That's my
and
opinion.
yet here we are, right? Like, we're all creating more, and that's great.
Yeah.
The challenge the news consumer, the information consumer has is, like, what do I stop and listen to?
Yeah.
What do I trust?
Credibility and where
Yeah.
you're getting the content from, and that's absolutely true.
Right.
And so what is more different today than I think at any point in the past is that we have all this information, but we trust much less. And it's that trust element and that lack of it, I think, that we are seeing express itself in the world around us. I think if you ask an average person, they were like, well, I don't want to watch it. It's just too crazy out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Or if something happens, people are waiting for a decision, but you're like, let me digest it first, but you don't even get to, because by the time it's the next day, they already came to a resolution or decision. You're like, wait, I just learned this. How do you process so fast?
Or the news cycle has moved on to the next thing to keep you crazy.
Yep.
And tuned in for a few seconds here and there. So
Yeah.
you can sell an ad. So
Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing, I think local media is the pathway out of this
Yeah.
Right.
morass we
Yeah.
seem to be in culturally as a society.
Yeah.
So that was what the Minot Voice was. It was designed to be this local source that people could turn to know how that information got in front of them.
Correct.
This was a real person providing some editorial, providing a little bit of local journalism,
Mm-hmm.
pointing them to other worthwhile news stories from other news sources.
Yep.
And what did you go to school for then? Because you didn't go to school for journalism, did you?
I was not. I was economics degree.
Oh, fantastic.
So, which ties in, I think, to almost all the various, opportunities that exist.
Yeah.
Because at its core, that's what economics is kind of a study of what's going on around us in some way, and then observing how it gets, how the problems get solved,
Yes.
the needs.
So how the problems get solved. Let's go to Josh Wolsky, the former council member.
Sure.
How did that
Yeah. How did that come out?
Yeah.
So that arose early on in some Minot Voice coverage. I began writing about the fact that at the time Minot had the ward system.
Uh-huh.
We had 7 wards. We had 2 aldermen elected from
Each ward.
That's
And
14.
so there were 14 city council members.
Oh my goodness.
Plus the mayor.
Plus a mayor. So we had 15 local.
That's a
elected
lot of
officials.
overhead, and not just that, but opinions and oh my goodness.
And I simply started pointing this out. I started bringing back comparisons to other communities in our region, in our.
Oh, I
state.
like that. So you had case studies
So
kind of thing.
It just like, okay, here's how Fargo does it. Here's
Yeah.
how Bismarck does it.
Yeah.
Here's how, and as it turned out, Minot at the time had a very large elected council in terms of number.
Okay.
But what we also discovered through some writing and coverage that I delivered was the fact that we were also not having many contested elections. Many of those 15 members on council were running regularly unopposed.
Oh, so it's incumbents and just
It was, I think it was a couple things. It was a complicated system that made it hard to understand who I can even vote for.
sure.
Right? Because if you didn't know which ward you lived in,
Mm-hmm.
and the lines were fairly arbitrary, you had some that extended from South Hill to North Hill. So they weren't neighborhoods the
Yeah.
way we often
Cut and dry and simple to
Right,
follow.
where there are common tied interests in
Sure.
a specific place. These were just arbitrary lines on a map. So it was hard to understand who you could even vote for.
Yeah.
And then it required a candidate and multiple candidates to get to a competitive election, and then you would have 7 of them across the city. And so
Right.
it was a complicated government election process.
Yeah.
And so I pointed that out. People started talking about it. People started asking me, what should we do about it? And yada, yada, yada. Make Minot came to be, which was
Right.
a city council reform
Yep.
group, a group of citizens that essentially acted from the outside looking in, saying, we want this change in our community. We went out.
Make Minot movement. I remember. Yep.
And ultimately the voters supported the concept we delivered overwhelmingly, which was the reduction to the current council makeup, which would have been 6 elected at large city council members
And
an elected at large mayor who has essentially full voting rights. And
We had 7 people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
7 people.
and we've been in the system now
elected
since
at
when?
wide. The transition took place. The first election to that system of government was in 2017.
17. That's right.
Authorizing election was in 16.
Okay.
And so it was approved by the voters in 2016. In 2017, I felt a little bit of an obligation because I had been a party to this reform
Spearheading it kind of, yeah.
to step into the game and actually put
Good for you.
Yeah. Yep.
my stake in
Yeah.
the court.
And I think that's right around the time I met you too, right around that
Yeah.
time.
Could have been.
Yeah.
And so that was how I kind of got into politics, because I felt like
Sure.
I had meddled enough that I had
Yeah.
a responsibility to.
And you're still a
play
strong
little
voice
game.
though, even though you're not in the council anymore.
Yep.
You're still a
So
strong
you,
voice.
so you moved on from. I mean, you served your technically was it 5 years?
It was actually a pretty short term, because of the off year transition.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My term was 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I stepped away in 2020 at the height of COVID
Yeah.
emergence.
Whew.
Right.
And
That's tough.
it was a delightful time to be able to step away from leadership.
Oh, I bet.
Sure.
I-
But you know,
I feel a little guilty in the sense,
Yep.
but also grateful to have not
Yeah.
had to make many of those tough calls.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So
So moving on from that, then what have you been up to lately?
yeah, so I spent a little bit of time with the Downtown Business Professional Association. I was the interim director for about 18 months, and then got back into publishing because that was what I really determined still to be the need.
Yeah.
So the Minot Voice, I spun up a new concept called Savor Minot.
Which
I like.
I'm on. I love it. It's a
Yeah.
really cool concept.
Also on hiatus right now a little bit, but I will be getting back to this very shortly. And all along, I just continue to try and improve the platform I
Right.
delivering this content through, in part to make it more user friendly for the
Yeah.
people, the audience, but also to make it more user friendly for
We're closed,
The-
guys.
um, for the back end management, for local media to compete with social media, to compete with Elon
Yeah.
Musk, to compete with
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg.
I remember telling you telling us about that, saying, you know, like one day if they do decide to shut us all down, how are we still going to get our information? Which I love
Yeah.
because that is really true. Look at what happened to TikTok, for
Yeah.
example. As dumb as that sounds, that was huge for people. They freaked out. They were literally freaking out.
Right.
And it was a short-term platform. It wasn't even around that long.
Well, and it's we have all become so dependent on these multinational corporations
Yeah.
to deliver content to us. One, they're not doing it. This isn't people choosing what we see. This is algorithms and psychographic information.
If you look at it once, you're going to see it on your timeline and you're like,
Right.
oh, I
So
want to buy
it's-
that now. You're like, I
Right.
just wanted to search for someone else.
We're all a little creeped out by it.
It is. Well,
And
hey,
so-
are our phones listening to us right now?
Yep.
I mean, seriously.
Right.
Think of
We're
it that
all
way.
going to get ads for local media newsletters here
Right
in the
after
next
this, I
couple days,
know.
I presume. So yeah, that was kind of what I got back into. Again, this is all just continues to evolve with the goal of developing a platform where
Yeah.
people can access local information,
Mhm.
where they can know where it's coming from,
Sure.
where they can know that it's supported by local businesses.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what we have to figure out as a model where local businesses reinvest in local media.
Yep.
Right.
And I spent, again, I kind of took a break at the end of last year, but I spent about a year and a half digging into historic newspapers.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Yeah.
From
Yeah.
basically 1900 to 1960.
Like a bunch of them or just local here?
Mostly hyper local to Minot.
Okay.
So from in that era, those
And I
60
noticed,
years,
yeah, that on your platforms that you've built, that you'll bring them every once in a while. Did you know, or like a
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And so from 1900 to 1960, there was a weekly newspaper in County called the Ward County Independent. It had just a glorious run, fantastic, like very sharp local editors who could intake news from around the world,
Mhm.
distill it very quickly, and give their readership, which was maybe 10 or 15,000 local subscribers at its peak, give them a take on the world as it was happening, and make sure they knew what they needed to know about what was
I love that.
out there.
I love that.
And people in that moment were not inundated by information. Television hadn't yet emerged, or it was only just emerging at the end of that stretch. Radio in the middle began to emerge, but we had a citizenship that was so well informed because once a week they sat down to read that newspaper. or the Minot Daily News,
Yeah.
which was emerging again in the middle of that stretch.
Okay.
But that was how we got our information.
You know,
Every day we slowed
I'm
down.
glad you brought that up because I want to make a point though. Something I realized. We all grew up around the same time in the era. I will say this. I know when I used to go to school, all of our friends would know what was going on because we all watched the same shows. There's only 3 channels. So it's almost like we all were still a part of everything and we all part of the conversation. Nobody felt left out
Mhm.
unless they didn't have a TV or they didn't read something. But
We
that
all had access to the same core.
Right.
yeah, we
same
weren't being
supply.
distracted by
Right.
what we
So,
wanted. Like,
Yeah,
so if you're
you
looking at
came down at
sports
8 in the 90s or the 80s,
yeah.
they would have the Minot lunch letter was
Oh,
on
I love
there.
that. I was in
Yes.
that. I
Yeah.
loved
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
love that. But I'm talking about like, and even from school,
Right.
like we can go to school, we all related, even from games to movies to
Right.
everything to music, because we all, there was not so much saturation in media until cable started
Yes. Yep.
and then social media and internet. So I'm just saying all of that's changed everything.
Right.
So all of our attention, which is
Mhm.
now an attention economy, am I
Yes.
right? It's disjointed. It's all distracted, and it's more and more.
And I th- I continue to believe that that is reflective of what we see happening around us, this fracturing of
Mhm.
information.
Yeah.
And so, um, uh, the hope is to be able to deliver all that back in some small way, right?
Mhm.
Where we can have information of consequence, a place we can turn to and trust. But
Mhm.
and I keep saying I've been taking a break, and it really all that has been uh, this spring to begin working on the 11-ounce Minot.
Yes, which is what you're
Yes,
doing
new
now.
thousands, which is awesome.
So yeah, I don't want to get to the end of this little session and not have kind of shared
No,
a little bit.
no,
No,
we'd
no,
love to
no,
hear
no.
it.
Yeah, we
No,
yeah,
no,
no,
we'd
yep.
love to hear it. Please share.
So,
Let's save the best for last.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And the most timely the day to put on everybody's calendar is this coming Thursday over in Citizens Alley, just a block away from where we're sitting right now. We've got a summer long music series on Thursday nights that will kick off, and we've got free community concerts with, in some cases, local artists, in some cases, regional artists, right? In some cases, international touring artists.
Okay.
That will be setting up and playing a set for us.
Right.
That's fantastic.
And it costs as much as deciding to come downtown on a Thursday night and
Right.
stroll down Main Street,
Right.
see what's going on here,
Mhm.
kick over to Citizens Alley, and
You can park over here too. There's a lot of
Right.
parking,
Yeah,
guys.
right,
Let's use
right,
those
right.
parking
I
lots,
think-
guys.
The yeah, I think if you park on the north parking lot, it's comparable to walking from Sears to or the old Sears or the old or the JC Penney's to Shields in the mall.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting walk too.
Well, yeah.
We've got
Right.
Down Central.
beautiful new facades down here.
Yes.
Some of these
Right.
buildings, that have
Street
been-
paintings.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
Josh was on the
So-
facade Renaissance Zone
Yes.
board as well. I ended up taking over your seat when you stepped down.
Thank you very much.
And
for
thank
that.
you very much for allowing me
Yeah.
to sit on it because I've seen such like amazing work downtown because of
It-
that.
I really believe it's been a transformative program.
I do too.
We've been living with, in some cases, these buildings that just didn't quite look the way they were supposed to look
Yeah.
for so long that we'd almost stopped noticing them. And
Yeah.
now when we get back to the historic architecture, the way they were designed, the windows to their full heights and widths in the window spaces, so you can actually see the masonry that's around them.
Yeah.
It almost feels like, we've like really cleaned up the living room after a long weekend, and we
Yeah.
feel
Right.
good about living in our space.
And that's what you're talking about too, where
Yeah.
these concerts are taking place. Tell us a little bit about that area.
Yeah, so Citizens Alley is just a glorious public space. The hard work of the Axel Group, which has
Mhm.
been redeveloping that little corner of downtown for probably at least.
What's the address on that?
So Citizens Alley is 106 East Central.
Okay.
But the larger work of Axel Group is really all evident in that area with Prairie Sky Breads, the Joe's Italian building, the Weekender building, and more to come, to be sure. But Citizens Alley is now just a place to be able to go and hang out.
And I've been calling
So the days there's pickleball courts
Right.
up there.
Mhm.
in the winter. There's you can go skiing.
Skating.
There is
Yep.
a refrigerated, probably available, we hope this year, maybe even October 15th, November 1st,
Mhm.
somewhere in that area, long before you can actually skate outdoors in North Dakota, because the weather will create
Sure.
the environment.
Yep.
Yep.
We've been able to, through again the work of Axel Group, been able to deliver this rink into that space in the wintertime, so it transitions gracefully through the seasons.
Right.
And yeah, this summer concert series is going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're
And
opening-
as a matter of fact,
We're opening Thursday with Dakota Faye.
yes, guys, we just
yes.
had him on.
We just had him on. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
he is so excited.
He's been such a great advocate. We've seen the energy he's been sharing on social media, and
He's a
for the
homegrown
wild
talent. I
years
mean,
of
that's really what it
talent.
comes down to. To show, just to
Yeah.
begin with him,
Right.
is really like gracious on you guys'
It
behalf
is.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's part of the fun of this too, right? It's a celebration of music, but it's also like, there's
Opening
this
the door for somebody else.
It's opening the door. There's exactly this larger idea of building a music and artist ecosystem
Right.
that celebrates and pushes these talented individuals up,
Yeah.
gives them a platform, a stage, so that people can see them and go, yeah, look, he's one of ours, right?
Right.
We can
Be proud
we
of him.
can claim him,
Yeah.
and boast to our friends and from other places like, no,
Yeah.
this we've got some really cool stuff going
Yeah.
on here, and
Mhm.
Dakota's a great illustration of that, and so he fit really well on a
Yeah.
night as a
Fantastic.
demonstration of the larger ethos.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've got just a great lineup. Week 2 is a band out of the cities. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Paul Simon's Graceland album.
Yes.
One of my favorites growing up, and the backing music on that album was inspired by one of Paul Simon's trips to South Africa.
Oh wow.
Multi-layered, if you will.
Yeah, so very African
Nice.
influenced,
Yeah.
and I had this artist that's coming up on June 11th reminds me a lot of what I heard growing up on that Paul Simon Graceland.
Nice.
So I'm really excited
And
for
then
that one.
tell me about the arts though. You guys also have different arts things going on, like because we also our next guest, which we haven't announced yet, but he's an artist that's going to be featured there too.
Awesome.
So, but
So-
what exactly are you guys doing with that part too?
So the Lebanon Minot is an evolution of arts in the city. Arts
Okay.
in the City is the Minot Area Council of the Arts Main Street program that started probably 5 or 6 years ago. And it was a Thursday night event focused on Main Street and local artists and musicians.
Okay.
And so part of that programming was always the featured artist.
Yes.
So they've got musicians on stage, but they're also celebrating the visual arts and the makers and the creators.
Yeah.
And so that was an element of that programming that we wanted to continue as we folded the arts in the city concept into Lebanon Minot.
Okay.
And
Great.
it's been an exceptionally valuable and important partnership with Minot Area Council of the Arts. They stepped up in such an enormous way to help us deliver Lebanon Minot this year. They are sponsoring all of our opening artists.
Oh, fantastic.
Minot, Bismarck, local regional people
Mm-hmm.
who maybe not quite ready in some respects for the headline position on a Lebanon stage.
But it gives them the beginnings.
But we
start.
still get to celebrate and again create that ecosystem
Yeah.
for all of these local artists. And so Minot Area Council of the Arts has sponsored the entire summer of opening artists, a wonderful commitment. And so as a result of all of those things, the way this has all evolved, we are keeping that idea of the featured artist alive. Mac will have a presence on stage for us, or excuse me, in our vendor market on Central Avenue. So they are very much a part of this event moving forward, and we're really grateful to have
So
them.
the days that on Thursdays they're going to take I believe the week off of the fair.
We opening night is June 4th.
Yeah.
We are taking July 2nd off
Uh-huh.
because people start getting a little bit of
Length
4th of July.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
So we're going to take that night off, and then we aren't going to compete against the North Dakota State Fair. So July 23rd
Yeah.
will be off. But
Okay.
all the other Thursdays
Throughout the
aside
whole
from that.
summer. Yep.
And then at the end of our run, I think our last show is on Thursday, the 20th of August.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It'll be a little longer break, almost 9 days between the next one, but the celebration,
Nice.
the gorgeous mural that went up on the elevator over there on 4th Street
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
will be in its 2nd year. And so the folks who delivered that just extraordinary piece of work into the community.
Yeah, so that started last year then.
Yep,
And you guys are
so
continuing that. So
the-
that's going to be a continuing annual event then for
It
next year
is.
too.
And that
Okay.
is the celebration is probably going to become the culmination of summers in Minot, I think.
Okay.
And so that is a hosted in Citizens Alley event. That's not
Okay.
a production of ours. It is.
Oh, so they lend the Citizens Alley to them. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
The folks who delivered Citizens Alley, or excuse me, the mural
Uh-huh.
needed and wanted a place to celebrate.
What is the group that does that?
It is I don't know what formally their names are. It was Cole Kruger and Tim Bauman and Chelsea Blake were the
But is there like a group that you could follow them to with
it-
their stuff too?
uh,
Like a
there
website?
is. I
Okay.
know they have a Facebook page.
Okay.
I for some reason
It's
not at the tip of my tongue
no
right
worries.
now.
I just figured I'd
Yeah,
let people know. So if they want to look
they-
more and more.
absolutely fantastic work on the part of those individuals
Right.
to deliver that piece of work, that talented artist from literally the other side of the world.
Yeah, I
all
saw
the way
him
from
painting last
Australia.
year. It was phenomenal
Cool.
to watch him.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because when you looked at him, you're like, what is he doing? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then, like, a week later, you come back, you're like, oh, I get what that is now. It was kind of like a puzzle he was putting together.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Really fun to watch that emerge last summer, and yet another example of just the extraordinary community pride that's emerging.
Yeah.
And all the things that flower out from that simple idea of kind of caring about your place and wanting to
Right.
see it
Yes.
improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I can tell you that I've known Josh now for quite a while. It's almost going on, maybe I would say I'm about 10 years this year. Because if I met you in 2016, when I did that Minot Connect talk,
Oh, sure.
remember, that's how I met you.
Is it up at the
Yes.
Hilton kind of thing?
Yes,
Sure.
that was when I met you. Yes,
early
you
entrepreneurial.
yes, I was invited there to talk. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And you were so nice to talk to me, and I didn't even know who you were. And it was just nice. So it's been about 10 years I've known you now,
Okay.
thinking about it.
Yeah, I gotta say, Josh, you've brought a whole element of uplifting downtown in this whole area
Yeah.
down here.
Well, thank you for that.
And you're
I-
still
you're
pushing
still
forward
doing
with a
it.
whole
You're
bunch of
still
other
doing it.
things we haven't even touched on. But
I-
maybe we have to have you back another time
We
to
have
talk about
have them
that.
back. Maybe at the end after.
Maybe the wintertime when we
Yeah,
want to talk
yeah,
about what we
yeah.
want to get started on in the spring.
Well, I know I had those 3 years on city council
Mhm.
and the good talk.
Yeah, oh, that's the other one. I
Yeah,
wanted to,
yeah.
that's
the podcast that Jonah and I did.
yes, and that's the last time I did a
So-
podcast with you. I was on it as a guest.
Nice. You guys got to be careful. I'm a little microphone starved these days, so I'm.
Hey.
Right.
Hey, if
Yeah.
Corey or I can't
Yeah,
sit in, maybe
yeah,
co-host. I'm
Yeah,
cool with
That
that.
would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm
by
cool
all
with
means,
that.
Yeah.
Keep me on those lists. I'd love to come and chat whenever the
So
time is appropriate.
where can we learn about like what's going on? What are the handles? What are the places? What do we do to let people know? Because again, this is one thing I did want to say, Corey.
Yep.
I got a message. One lady did say, and I don't have her name. So sorry, but you know who I'm talking about. She mentioned on the first episode we aired, she's so happy that we're doing this, but she had to always aggregate everything, what's going on. So for you and what you're working on in Citizens Alley, where do you recommend people go to really
Great
find?
question.
Yeah,
Sure,
like
yes.
where do we need to go?
So for Citizens Alley, and I am a huge advocate for divorcing your dependence on social media.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we just don't know what it's going to serve to us.
Sure.
If we sign up and follow a place, we have no idea if they're actually showing us what we want to see from those various businesses
Right.
and associations. So for Citizens Alley, go to the Citizens Alley website, Google search Citizens Alley,
Okay.
and subscribe to the email list.
Okay. So it's a newsletter.
The newsletter comes
Okay.
out once a week, and that will keep you up to date on everything that's happening in that little area.
Okay.
And then after you do that, go to the minotvoice.com or
Yeah.
savorminot.com.
It's SAVOR.
SAVOR. Like
Savor, like savoring food, guys.
We
Yum.
we want to
Go out for a nice meal. Want to savor that delicious
Exactly.
It's
taste.
got everything from
Yep.
events to cool like happenings that are just only like local, maybe like one night. So
It
it's
is.
always
It
on
is
point.
designed exclusively for the unique local businesses in Minot.
Right.
And if any of those businesses are listening or watching, figure out how to get in touch with me. My number's in places, my email's in places. Use the contact forms wherever they are, because I am not actually going to ask anything from businesses, I want them to adopt and use. This
Okay.
is a self-publishing platform. the
Yeah,
same
I've been
way
using it for quite a while now.
Facebook is. Magic City Hoagies has their monthly specials here,
Yeah.
and has been for a year, and I'm grateful for that content.
Yeah.
The challenge we have in media that is especially local media is we're trying to build advertising models the same way it previously existed, but we're competing against companies that give it away for free.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I have decided I'm gonna follow their lead, and
Mhm.
if local businesses, especially the unique local ones, the food and drink, the local retail,
So many
the
things you can
places
get in
you can
Minot.
only get in Minot,
Uh-huh.
we'll figure out a way to support you.
Okay.
But it requires a little bit of time.
Mhm.
Gotta just be able to grab your username and password and sign in
Yep.
and share what you're already sharing with Mark Zuckerberg. Just give it
Yeah.
to local media too.
Let me tell you guys, let me tell you, okay, when I have to change my hoagie of the month every single month, this is the first thing I do. I actually first post it on Savor Minot so I don't forget it. It's like on my SOP list because if I don't do it, I'm going to forget it.
Right.
And then I go to everywhere else. Then I go to Google and post it. And then I go to Facebook and then I go, and the website, all that stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
It's and the goal and what we will be back to very soon is actually the Savor Minot, the Minot Voice, the 4 Minot network. It is a daily ecosystem. It is a newsletter that
Yeah.
goes out every morning. There's content that is updated there. And again, I'm overselling a little bit right now because it's not in that state
Yeah.
at the moment,
Yeah.
but it will be within a few days. And you'll be in the loop.
Yeah.
You'll know
It's like the
what's going
modern
on
lunch
from
letter,
news.
guys.
Right. Yeah.
If you guys know what that is.
That might point you exactly where to get lunch.
Yes.
So you have your limited
Yes.
special.
Yes.
Yes.
And listen, it's really neat. Like I will definitely say that like Josh, you're definitely a wealth of information. And if you guys don't know this guy, introduce yourself. He can maybe point you in the right direction of anything you need to know. Usually, I mean, he was in politics and here in Minot, all the way now to like arts, now to downtown. I mean,
Mhm.
really,
Right.
and he's a local.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get any better than that. I'm not, so don't ask me those questions all the
Really?
time.
Well, I feel like Christine, you've earned local status.
Oh, I
You're paid
appreciate
dues.
that.
Yep.
You're a Magic City
Over a
girl
decade.
through and through at this point. So
I'm telling you,
just
Magic
this
City
space
flows through
by
me.
itself,
Yeah.
the energy it permeates out into the world is
Thank
such
you.
a good example of that.
Yeah, and mine is a inclusive town.
Yeah, it really is. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
and if you don't find your path of where you want to meet, like that's where you come up to us guys and we'll say, "Hey, we know what's going on," and just
Find your
people.
Yes.
If you
yeah.
haven't found it here, you're not yet looking in the right place.
I agree
So
with
you
you
just
there.
gotta
I
keep
agree.
turning over rocks because
Yeah.
it's here somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of
Be part of the narrative
continuing to
now.
look.
Don't
Yeah,
don't sit
yeah.
here and like Corey said in the first beginning. He's like, don't be part of the problem. Try to find a solution
Don't
to the
sit there
problem.
and whine and complain.
Yes.
Corey and I, well, we all grew up in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
if Christine, the experience was the same where you grew up, but if you grew up in North Dakota in the 80s and 90s and you whined, somebody made you pay for it.
I didn't have time to whine. I was
right.
outside playing and I was outside doing things.
We
I
had
was
sun
yeah. I
12
was out
months out of the year, but I mean, yeah.
yeah, but I mean yeah, they made us do something if we were
Right.
whining.
So we were taught real quick that it was keep your mouth shut or make something happen.
Makes
Yeah.
it happen, right?
Which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And that's it's a can-do attitude. And that's the
Yeah.
one thing I love about North Dakota that guys, again, if you're thinking about moving here, there's a lot of cool stuff, but I really believe that there's something for you to do no matter what.
There is.
To get up and start something.
Yep.
And that's the opportunity. I mean, like I said, I've met you and I've met you. I mean, it's just a huge ecosystem.
And everybody is all out there doing their own thing, pulling in some way. But everybody takes a break to go help somebody else.
Exactly.
It comes along, and so we all have the things we care passionately about, but we also take time to enjoy it. Too,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we get the chance.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that for everybody who's working hard on whatever their thing is, take a break on Thursday nights this summer. Come on downtown.
Yeah.
Stroll down Main Street.
Right.
Park.
There's 2 parking garages,
Yeah,
guys.
Yep,
Remember.
yep.
Or there's this glorious large parking space across from City Hall on
Yep.
to the east there. I don't know who's using that right now or if Trinity's still using it, but there's always parking spaces there.
Yep. Yep.
Get some exercise, walk down Main Street.
Yeah, there's a lot happening downtown, guys. It's really moving and shaking this time.
Get some ice cream here in Magic City Suites. Grab a glass of wine and off the vine.
Yeah, did you see their new setup outside? It's beautiful.
They're using the sidewalk is
Yeah.
area.
Beautiful.
Plenty of room.
Yeah, I saw her the other day, and I said, "Congrats on that." I said, "I've been waiting for someone to do that finally on Main." Is she? Yeah, the first.
Absolutely. So there's more to do down here than most people realize.
Yeah.
And it's now, really becoming one of those environments where you don't have to do anything.
Just show up.
Come
Just show
down
up.
here and
Yes.
be
Yes.
in a really beautiful
Yes.
environment.
It's taken time
Enjoy
to
it.
change and evolve to this, but now it's starting to really come into its own.
This summer season too, with all the planters full and
Yes.
nice and colorful.
Yep.
No,
Christine helped
absolutely
with the pollination project right downtown here.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Tim Bauman was definitely part of that help, and then the Parks District with their very festive, patriotic colors
Right.
this year.
And that just that larger contribution and daily upkeep of
Yeah.
those is so much
Yeah.
more than people realize.
Right.
Yeah.
There's somebody doing
costs
something
are-
behind the scenes in order to keep this going.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I had a talk with the Realtors Board recently about that and saying, hey, you know what? If you guys want to support downtown, that's the best way.
Right.
Yeah.
And people are really open to wanting to know how they can help and volunteer, and that's the
Right.
biggest thing. You guys have volunteer opportunities too where you're at, so
We absolutely do, and also through the Citizens Alley website.
Yeah.
The opportunities to get involved are over there, and we have
fantastic.
planting programs. We have Thursday night opportunities. We're gonna have wintertime volunteer activities.
Yeah,
Right,
so get
right.
the kids
Yep.
moving, guys. Get them out of the
Yeah.
house. Don't leave
Yeah.
them cooped up.
Right.
Well, Josh, thank
Yeah,
you so much.
thank
Is there
you.
anything else you want to let us know that
Well-
I didn't ask you or Corey didn't ask you?
I appreciate the opportunity to give plugs to all those things and tell us a little bit. And yeah, that's what I got for a Sunday afternoon.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Cool. Well,
Okay.
I'm good. Are you?
Yeah, we're good,
yeah,
guys. So I just want to say thank you to Josh Wolsky here and Corey Long, the co-host. Sorry I didn't introduce you in the beginning.
It's all good.
Abruptly.
No, we introduced each other.
I got so excited to talk to Josh. I was like, forget Corey. No, but it's been great. Like this is, guys, again, if there's any questions you have, we're gonna put his information in the post here. And please come on out and support downtown. Remember, it's a big year this year, 250 years,
Yeah.
and 140 years from Minot.
Yeah.
Lots of celebrations.
Yes.
we're,
Yes.
going out for this summer.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so we're excited to be a part of that. We want you guys to be a part of it too. So just follow us again, and then you guys have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, take care. Bye.
That's the magic of me. M-I-N-O-T, now you see. Life ain't always just what you dream. It's the way that you make those things reality.